I'm sure many of you know the story of how birds fly south for the winter. How can you blame them on a cold day like today? But some of those birds, they end up traveling thousands of miles one way. What if I told you that there was a songbird who has likely traveled tens of thousands of miles over their lifetime? And the record for the longest living black-headed Grosbeak belongs to a bird who makes their breeding home along the Boise Ridge.
For nearly 30 years, the Intermountain Bird Observatory has been, well, observing birds around Boise, with the goal being conservation.
So it's sort of the finger on the pulse. We can get an idea of, how are these common species doing? Are they sustaining their populations? Are they declining? And if they're declining, is there anything we can do about it?
To do that, it helps to know how many you have. So since 1997, the observatory spends every summer and fall 3 months at Lucky Peak banding songbirds.
Just a little lightweight aluminum band around their leg, and that lets us count how many birds have come through our station, and it gives us a really good idea of sort of the ages of the birds that are coming through, and that allows us to track population trends over time.
Time is why we're telling you this story, and it takes us back to July of 2008. When Heidi was new to the observatory.
Yeah, it really was. It was like my first month ever bird banding.
She would help catch them, band them, and snap a picture of them.
And so we caught this grosbeak. He was a 1-year-old. He was probably nesting for the first time. Yeah, and you can see his little brown wing feathers, so that's when he was a little baby.
At the time, a pretty common catch.
We band, about 60 grosbeaks a year and thousands of other birds.
But this grosbeak would garner another look.
We recaught him in 2010, which, having a bird that's 3-4 years old, that's not that remarkable.
Neither is not seeing the same bird more than twice.
Yeah, we assume a lot of our birds probably live 4 or 5 years, and then we don't see them again, and we assume, all right, they lived their life, they had some babies, great.
And if that were the last we heard of that grosbeak, then this story would be pretty unremarkable too. But jump ahead a dozen years to the summer of 2022. The crew caught a grosbeak who was already banded. They wrote down his number, took his picture, and let him go. Then a few weeks ago, while putting this summer's band numbers into the database, Heidi saw it.
Whoa, that's a really old band number. Where did this bird come from?
But Heidi knew.
I actually recognize, so 1991 is like a sequence that I remember because it was the first year that I was banding songbirds up there.
She also remembers it for another reason. You see, that first photo from that first year, that grosbeak was biting and being held by her future husband, Jay.
But it was only the 4th day I'd ever met him before, so.
So it took a while for the bird lovers to become lovebirds themselves. Another 8 years to start dating, another 2 years to get married. Now they have a toddler with another on the way.
Yeah. So this grosbeak has been at Lucky Peak and at our station for as long as I have, which is cool.
Oh, right. Back to the grosbeak. First banded in 2008, still alive in 2022. That means this bird would be
15 years and plus or minus a couple months.
Is that normal?
It's the world record, as far as we know, for black-headed grosbeaks. So it's the longest lived of his species that's ever been recorded before.
They cross-checked that record on the Bird Banding Laboratory, who keeps track of longevity records. And sure enough,
before this was a black-headed grosbeak that was 11 years old, and he was caught in 2005 in Montana. Now this guy's the new record.
That number of years, though, pales in comparison to the number of miles this ancient grosbeak has likely gone in his yearly migration to Mexico.
We added up, we think minimum he had to have gone 30 or 45,000 miles in his life so far.
A life that is not only a test of time, but a testament to the work of the Intermountain Bird Observatory.
It's only because of that band number that we're able to actually say, wow, this guy's really old grandpa grosbeak. And so yeah, it gives us this sense of pride of, wow, like we're protecting this habitat and getting really good data about these species, and it's all working out. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see.
I'm guessing this next spring, you're gonna be looking for them.
Yes.
Well, I hope he's nice and warm on a day like this. It's probably a lot warmer in Mexico than it is right now, snowing outside in Boise. But if you want to read more or see this story, you can check out our website at ktvb.com. The 208 rolls on after this.